Hey, welcome back to the podcast. Yes, I know it has been a very long time. I want to say my last podcast was either November 2019 or the very first week of December 2019. So 2019 itself was a lot from top to bottom. I was definitely ready to go into the new year. Had a tragic loss at the end of the year of 2019. And so I, took my time in 2020 in the beginning. And I was like, okay, well, I'll take my time and I'll just, get back into the groove of things. And I was writing notes. The stuff that we're going to talk about today, I actually wrote early 2020. And, of course, the pandemic, Corona, she came on through and just knocked everything kind of out of whack. I already really was not on social media and not looking at the news or anything like that a lot the beginning of 2020. So even when everything happened, I didn't know the seriousness of it because I knew, okay, that, they said some stuff was happening or whatever. And I remember just going grocery shopping. My husband and I, we went grocery shopping. And I use Clorox wipes on a regular. Clorox wipes and disinfectant spray. I always have that in the house. And we couldn't find any. But I didn't think nothing of it. And so then I'm calling around what the heck is going on? That's when everybody was just buying up all the tissue and stuff. And then they brought all the wipes. And I was like, what? So yeah, I was that out of touch with what the heck was going on. But it came and I didn't realize it took as much of a toll on me as it did until I think months into it. We are still in the pandemic. I know some people like to just reference 2020 as a pandemic time, but we are definitely still in it. And still, the effects are rolling on in. So just a lot. Now it's 2021 and it's February. The Texas is going through right now, getting hit hard. And it's just a lot. It's been a lot going on. But your girl is back. And today we're talking about managing goals and finances during uncertain time. Now, going back into last year, I'm a planner. I plan, write lists, all of that. I've been doing that for years. That's where Getting Itch Done was birthed, just from me writing lists all the time, having different planners, having all of that. I wanted to put it all in one book. And that was just me. But for last year, 2020, majority of the year, I didn't plan anything. I had to really give myself grace. And it took majority of the year to realize that's what I needed to give myself, because I had a lot of guilt. Oh, I should be doing this. I'm not doing that. But at the end of the day, it's LaShawn, it's okay. It is going to be okay. I definitely had a let go, let God year, definitely. But the end of the year into now, I have started planning again. I feel I'm in the groove and loving it again. I've started planning again. I'm actually doing weekly shows on my YouTube. Not shows, a segment basically on my YouTube where it's called Plan With Me. So I am doing that. So definitely check that out. I'm trying to be consistent with that. Now, confession, I did actually, I think I missed 2 weeks. I planned in real life, so I have plans in the planner, but I did not get a chance to record. But anyway, y'all, check that out and let me know if you're coming from the podcast. Leave me a comment and subscribe also. Definitely do that. And I'm actually doing a video and a podcast, audio and video of this podcast. Hopefully everything works out and I can actually post this to YouTube. So we'll see. If you're seeing live, not live video, but an actual video of me, I did great, right? But if not, if you just see audio, then it ain't work out. It ain't work out. So we're talking about managing goals and finances during uncertain times. And yes, I have my notes here. So if you're looking at the video, I am looking over at my notes. If I don't have notes, we will be all over the place. So, number one, focus on what you can control. So, we know now that every day is uncertain. If we didn't know before, we know it now. Like, you can be in your office, your routine going, you know when you're going to have your meetings, you know how everything's going to go, when you're going to go to lunch, where you're going to go to lunch, who you're going to eat with, all that stuff. And then the next day, you at home trying to figure out how you going to work at home and homeschool your kids and, you know, just be able to be on Zoom calls all day long. So definitely every day is uncertain. But in every situation that you're put in, it's important that you think to yourself, what can I do? What can I control in this situation? What can I control in this situation? That would help you relieve a lot of stress because there's a lot of stuff that's out of our hands, a whole lot. You know, there are things that we can control and there's a lot we can't. So in every situation, whether it be your goals or finances, think about what you can control. Okay? And with your goals and finances, the word pivot, that was used a lot in 2020. So I know somebody's like, why did you use that word? But I mean pivot, right? So you may have to pivot with your goals or your finances around what is happening. That doesn't mean that the goal won't get met. That doesn't mean that, you know, you're just going to be broke or whatever. It just means that you just have to change the plan a little bit. Change the actions that get to the actual goal. And another word that I'll use a lot probably today is grace. Give yourself grace. That doesn't mean I'm just not going to do it at all or never get back to it. That just means I need to sit down, need to chill out, and really work through what is going on and just give myself grace. Just step back, close the book, get off social media, you know, just do what you got to do and just give yourself grace. And one point I have about finances when we're talking about focusing on what we can control, one thing that we can control is being in the know about what's going on with the banks that we bank with, the credit card companies that we use. If we have student loans, the loan companies, being in the know about what's going on with them, that is something that you can control. And it can really help you in your situation. And I wasn't even thinking about like the CARES Act and all of that. A lot of these banks, not a lot of them, but the banks, the student loan companies, your credit card companies, all of them, they got money. They got money, right? But they ain't told you that. They're not going to send you a email saying, hey, this is what we got. This is what we doing with it. So you need to research, okay, well, what did they get? And I was talking to someone at work and she brought this up and I was like, you know what? I know that, but I didn't really sit and really think about it. Like, you know, what did y'all get? What you got? Because you want me to pay, like we not in a pandemic, you still want me to pay XYZ. But you got millions, some of these companies got millions of dollars and ain't said nothing to you about it. They still taking your money. And you sitting over here missing a meal. And it's like, no, something can be done about that. So really think about that. Focus on what you can control. Number 2, be realistic about your finances and your life situation. Be realistic about what's going on. Maybe, you know, some things can't be done right now, financially, non-financial, but that doesn't mean that it can never happen. It just might not be right now, or it might not be in the way that we wanted it to happen. And allow yourself in that moment when you realize you have to really be real with yourself about your finances and real with yourself about your goals. Allow yourself to feel whatever feelings that you need to go through in that moment. And it might be a moment, it might be a time frame, whatever it is, allow yourself to feel and really go through that. And then after that, you know, again, figure out, okay, in what ways what do I need to change? What can I keep the same? What hard conversations do I need to have? And then, you know, take those steps. Number 3, review and adjust your money plan, aka your budget. I like the word budget, but some of y'all don't. So review and adjust your money plan or your budget. Review and adjust, because I think one example would be the federal loans, right? So the federal loans, with 2020 until now, I won't say until now, through, I forgot what month in 2020 they stopped the loans. It was early. The first half of 2020, with the federal loans, they're basically they're in deferment and no interest is being accrued on those loans. So it started early in 2020. It was supposed to end in, I believe, like September. Then they pushed it to December. Then they pushed it through the end of January. Now it's going to be until September 2021 as of right now. I feel like they're going to push it back a little further also, because not much has changed, and I feel like some things are getting worse. But anyway, with that, right? So you might have been in a position, well, I'll be transparent with myself. So at first, when they pushed everything, they were like, okay, no, you don't have to pay if you can't. I was still paying, because I'm like, okay, one of my goals was to pay down my student loans. So really tackling those. So I'm like, okay, this is great, because now I can just put my my payments, the whole payment, toward the principal. I don't have to worry, because my interest is not horrible. So I'm like, I don't have to worry about putting, more money on top of that right now. I can just do that. So that's what I was doing for that time in the beginning of basically majority of 2020. What I was doing was I was saving half. So I would save one payment, and then I would pay toward the principal of the loan with the another payment. So I think I did 3 save and 3 pay, basically. Because I know I need to save money, because clearly we don't know what's going to happen day to day. But I also know that my goal was to pay this loan down anyway. So I was like, oh, bet, this is good. I'm going to be able to really, get some stuff down. And by the time we have interest occurring again and we have to pay, my loan will be down. So great. And hopefully I would have 1 or 2 of these things actually paid off. Well, when they went beyond the January 2021 and like, oh, you don't have to pay anything until September, I was like, you know what? I need to save that money. Because again, uncertain times, we really don't know what's happening day to day. So I'm like, I need to save that money and put it in the bank. That's that. Now I can save it, put it in the bank, and then when time comes to pay, if everything is good, financially for me, then I can just pay all of that toward my loan or just keep it in savings. But either way, I had to pivot and really look at my budget and say, okay, yeah, the first plan I had was, okay, use this to my advantage, pay on my loan, and then save some. Then I was like, you know what? That sounds great, and I love that, and I do want to be out of debt, student loan debt. However, I gotta be realistic. Like, the world has gone to, you know what, and I need to be ready if I need some cash. So that's why now it's like, okay, no, we're saving that. So situations like that, like review your budget. Where can you take money from here and put it there? Where can you do that? What can you kind of hold off on a little bit? Traveling and stuff. I didn't travel all of 2020. Yeah, I didn't go anywhere 2020 at all, which is, I'm definitely needing a break real soon. But I didn't do any of that. So that also helped me save a little bit too, and get some other items that I would have probably spent money on if I would have, went out of town. But that allowed me to kind of, have some funds also, because I didn't travel. But say, okay, this year stuff is still looking kind of funny for you as far as finances. Definitely think, okay, well, maybe instead of taking 2-3 trips, maybe only take 1 or 2. Or instead of going to Florida or, to California, wherever, which I think you can't even go to California right now like that. But instead of going to wherever you're going to go to vacation across the country, why not? Okay, let's take a couple of day trips or mini trips where you're still getting to have fun, get a break, but it may not be doing what you usually do, if that makes sense. And I hope I'm not going, off on too much of a tangent, but I hope it's all making sense. So yeah, you want to review the budget and you want to just be realistic. So number 4, have the necessary and hard conversations you need to have. The first conversation needs to be with yourself after you review this budget and kind of adjust some things. So having that conversation with yourself. And next, with any family members or calling, these banks and stuff, calling your student loan, because private student loans are still a thing. Payments are still a thing. Like my private student loan payment, I have been paying all this time, which I'm about to call them up to and have a conversation with them. But you want to have those hard conversations and not feel weak in doing so. Everybody's going through, like nobody is completely thriving right now, even if they told you that. Like everybody's having their regular highs and lows and even some other highs and lows with this whole just the state that the world is in right now. So don't think that you're alone, because just because you looking on social media or you're even just around people and they may make it seem like, oh, everything is going great. I'm good. I'm still doing this, that, and the other. Like they going through it too in one way or another. But it's all about how you deal with it. So having those necessary and hard conversations, like you are not weak. If you need to call somebody and be like, look, I can't make this payment, or hey, we need to lower this. Like, y'all gonna have to wait because I gotta eat or whatever. Like, that's not a weak moment. That is you really being on top of your stuff and taking care of business. So that was number 4, having the necessary and hard conversations. And number 5 is having no shame for yourself or on others. Because again, we don't know what everybody is going through. No matter what their socioeconomic status is, no matter what their race is or whatever, we don't know what people are going through, and they don't know every single thing that we're going through. Even if you try to, be as transparent as possible, people still don't know every single thing that happens. So just have no shame for yourself or others, because honestly, a lot of people, they are one step to being, homeless, one step of living paycheck to paycheck. Like, you just never know. And again, we are in uncertain times. A lot of people lost their jobs during the beginning of the pandemic, and they're still not working. Housing, I know where I'm at, there's a housing crisis as far as for, the homeless population and those needing homes and certain type of program homes and stuff like that. So, don't shame. Don't shame yourself and don't shame others. Definitely right now, anytime, but definitely right now. So those are 4 ways to manage your goals and finances during uncertain times. And going back through them, 1, focus on what you can control. 2, be realistic about your finances and life situation. 3, review and adjust your money plan. And 4, have the necessary and hard conversations. And 5, no shame. I'm going to say no shame zone. Okay, so I hope that you all have enjoyed this podcast, this Welcome Back podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and I will be back.